Hi everyone, I'm Les.
And I'm Ashley.
And you're listening to Anthropotamus, where we explore some of your favorite anthropology topics.
All right, welcome everybody. This is our first video recording on Anthropotamus. We are here with Brent Trayce, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sands.
Yep.
Brent Trayce Sands, Impound Comic Creator. We're here at Sacramento. So for those of us who've been listening to us for a while, this is what we look like. Hey.
Hi.
This is Les.
I know I'm usually in the background, but hey, this is what I look like.
This is the first on cam?
Yeah.
It's always just been an online or vocal.
On audio.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. So thank you for being on our first recording with us.
No problem.
Thanks.
So
Thank you for having me.
Excited to help just come and meet you and support Impound Comics. We're all pretty excited about having the Sacramento comic here. But before we get into Impound, tell us a bit about your background and what eventually led you into creating this series and what was the final push?
My background is a mix of a lot of different things: sports, music, promoting, and then I was always writing just on my spare time. It wasn't a job or anything. I just would have an idea and decide to do it. That probably started. I used to do little stories as a kid, but I would say the first time I ever tried to do a serious book or some sort of serious writing, I was probably like 17. And then I wrote like a 400-page novel. I finally finished it close to 19 years old. Wow. And then lost it all. And
Oh no.
Lost it all how?
You just would lose stuff on computers in those days. You didn't have clouds and things
No
like, you know
backup.
what I mean? If you didn't go above and beyond to back it up, stuff just happened at those times.
One bad power outage.
Yeah. The computer breaks and it's over. You know what I mean? So Mac wasn't really where it's at today. It was all Windows. It just happened. I don't even remember the reasoning. And then over time, I went to college for script writing, minored in creative writing, and then just still was putting stories together with no real goal, just doing it. And then in the pandemic is when I finally released Impound 1. I thought of the idea after I watched the first Black Panther film because the director of that film went to Sac State with me. So I think it was more his journey or how far he's went in that industry kind of put a light bulb in my head to want to do a superhero comic book series and not like a novel or a movie. And then, that's how it happened.
So, you're originally from Sacramento?
Yeah.
Okay. Whereabouts did you grow up out here?
Natomas.
Natomas. Okay.
Pretty much born and raised. Not even pretty much, born and raised.
Yeah.
And then went to Sac State. I've only lived outside of Natomas probably 3 or 4 years of my life. So.
I also live in Audible.
Yeah.
Going back to Black Panther, what specifically was it about Black Panther that inspired you? Like
The director?
Of the character.
It wasn't the character.
It was
So,
just the director.
I do love Black Panther, the character. I was gonna watch the movie and, all that anyways, but I don't think that would have gave me the idea. At that time, I've watched a ton of superhero movies, a ton of Marvel movies, and that didn't want to make me make a comic book. It was more just, I was trying to make a movie and not being able to figure out how to make a movie, seeing him, the director, do this movie, that made me want to backpedal and start comic book.
So if he did it, you could do it too.
Yeah, exactly. So if he would have directed Green Lantern or whatever, it was more, it's just kind of someone that you've been in the same room with inspires you, you know what I mean? So that was mainly what that was.
So since we came up on the topic of movies, you guys are creating an Impound movie. How far have you guys gotten?
We're not creating a movie anymore, like at this moment, no. We shot a movie script, a movie trailer with a proof of concept to try to hopefully maybe get a movie, but we're not shooting anything. It's more of just, it was like a resume. Okay. We started doing an animated series, so we have a cartoon series. We have the first episode on our YouTube, and then the second one comes out in March. But as far as a movie goes, we're nowhere near actually having a movie right now.
Is that something you still plan for the future?
Yeah, that's the goal. I didn't expect to get a movie then. That was just more of a publicity. You know what I mean? And like I said, a proof of concept. If somebody would have picked us up, that would have been great. But realistically, managing expectations, I didn't expect it to happen like that that time anyways, you know, so it's still coming.
Well, having that in your back pocket's also a good idea. 'Cause you never know if somebody stumbles across it and says, you know what, this is the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So it still lives on YouTube. It still gets a lot of views every day. And if I ever get whatever studio I get in contact with, I have it to show this is what I was thinking, so that you can have like a visual, you know what I mean? Like I said, resume of it.
Yeah.
I still see it happening.
It'll happen. Yeah. Just a matter of when.
So can I ask, obviously you said that Black Panther didn't really influence the character. What did influence character? What kind of inspirations?
Well, Spawn was a big inspiration. Spawn has always been my favorite comic character. And then I liked Hulk. I think I made him green because of that.
Okay. Green's my favorite color, so I'm hanging with it.
Green isn't my favorite color, but people think it is now. You know what I mean? So it's just, green looks cool to me though on heroes, like uniforms. It looks cool.
Green Lantern, the Hulk.
Even when we talk about like Splinter Cell, like when it was like all of that just looks cool to me. But when I first got him designed, I said I wanted a cross between Spawn and Iron Man, and that's kind of what came with that original suit of him. And then other characters were inspired by other things. You know, so, but the overall darkness of the universe definitely leaned on Spawn, Mortal Kombat.
I was gonna say, I definitely see some Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, for sure. I love Mortal Kombat. And then, like, just the idea of Gotham. Just went for darker, you know what I mean? So that's what that was.
I feel like it's very millennial of you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
the darker heroes.
We've all grown up with.
Right.
Sorry, I just had a picture of like foot soldier.
No, it's all good.
So I did want to bring up, you do have people come onto your social media, like make comments such as you're racist because all your characters are black. But I mean, those of us who've read the comic or have skimmed through and know all the characters are not all black. It's rather diverse. So I just want to highlight the importance of how diverse your comic is, and the fact that it is set in Sacramento, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, it's set in Sacramento. And Sacramento alone is a very diverse community.
Yeah.
Which is why I love living here.
Yeah.
I just want to take a second to highlight that and the importance of
diversity and inclusion.
We're going to delete this whole section here with the answer to this question.
Oh, don't worry, we're still live. So.
Yeah, technically. I think, it wasn't necessarily something I was going for out the gate, I would say. My first thought was to make, heroes that look like me. Heroes that look like friends and family. And then, as it went, for one, Sacramento itself, like I said, is a very diverse place. And so is my family. You know what I mean? I have Hispanic cousins. I have cousins that are Armenian. I have a lot. We have a lot of like a salad bowl of a family. Me personally, I'm African American. Same as my parents, but we're it's diverse. And so I started branching other characters off of family members or friends or and just the idea of the city in general. It just made sense for it to be that way. But yeah, that's how it happened.
So you mentioned that. So going off of that. And over the past few years, people have been speaking out more about the importance of representation in media. Do you feel that other people speaking up and saying, I love such and such character because I feel like I can relate to it or connect to it for cultural reasons or for whatever reason, do you feel like that also continues to inspire you to create these characters?
Yeah, no, for sure. So when I make other characters from a different culture that I'm not a part of, I try to make sure to do my homework on it, and then it also became a journey of just representation all around. I'm always gonna still, try to uplift as many people that need it. You know what I mean? And it became important as we went because even just with the company, I think the first character that I announced their ethnicity, which was outside, was Seraph, and he's from the Philippines. And the reason why I decided to do that was because the illustrator who helped me design him was from the Philippines. So kind of gave him a hero, just like I gave Impound myself a hero, and I just grew on that,
Absolutely.
I want to be a hero.
Doesn't everybody?
So I do want to. So you mentioned on Instagram a while back that the female characters do not get as much love as the male characters do. Do you feel like maybe the comic audience is still very male dominated?
It 1,000% is. It's not even close. Like, it doesn't matter what platform of ours you look at, it's gonna say 85 to 90% men, and then the rest is women. So yes, women are not as in the masses in tune with the comic world like men are. It's just the reality. A lot of women who come in here are usually buying for someone else. You know what I mean? So there are a large amount of female, comic nerds like the rest of us, but it's still unbalanced, you know? So, you still try to go through that process of making strong, dominant, cool female heroes and hopefully attract more women in that way. But the reality is just, it's still very heavily male dominated.
Do you feel like that has changed over the past few years, that women have increasingly been attracted to comics?
Yeah, absolutely. It's women and minorities as a whole. You know what I mean? It's a new era of I guess the word nerd not being looked at as a bad thing. So yeah, it's just the time that we're in. I feel like in the future the numbers will start being 60-40 to 50. You know what I mean? But just a matter of time.
Do you also feel like that maybe because it is male creators who are creating these female comics, that it is more difficult for you guys to create? I feel like I'm repeating the same word over again, but do you feel like it's difficult to create a female character that female can relate to?
Yeah, I guess it can be. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I mean, you can only do certain things on what you think. You know what I mean? But we would need the ladies to step up and start creating. But I mean, there's a lot of female creators too now, though. So all that is growing. There's a comic book series called Dope Girl Comics, and it's all female heroes and villains. So it's starting to happen. But yeah, no one can tell the story better than the person who lived the story.
Right.
But just try to do the best you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you haven't shied away from it. You have included female characters and really tried to include that diversity, in your comics to begin with. So I mean, yes, they can tell it better, but we still have to tell those stories, right? So
Absolutely.
Yes, I do love the. Who was it? I don't remember the character's name.
The female characters, there's Lady
Was it this
Monarch.
one?
There's Lady Monarch and there's Alina.
Yes, I think it was Lady Monarch. When you discuss on Instagram all your inspiration with the women's basketball team you no longer have, and was it the Egyptian goddess? All these different strong female images that have come together to create this one character. I thought that was great.
Thank you. Yeah. I do a lot of research, and I really pull things from things that I know, because that's how you make your characters more edgy and different. Being different is very hard in this industry. So that's why I went personal. That's why I went to where I'm from and where I went to things that, if these are stories for sure that haven't been told in this industry, you know what I mean? So that was a big part of that.
I feel like that with you using past historical figures or characters and mythology, that would be very anthropology attractive.
I think we can try and horn in on that one. We can bridge that gap.
Anthropology podcast, so it would make.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, everything people do is anthropology. So if you're referencing mythology, if you're writing a comic, or do you do the art yourself?
No, I can't draw.
Okay.
Only the
Neither
writer.
can I.
Only the writer. We have illustrators.
Okay. So whatever we're doing, whether it's writing, drawing, or even just telling stories, right? That's all anthropology.
Yeah.
Now, personally, I just think that this being based in Sacramento is fantastic because it's where I'm from.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can claim anthropology for this one.
All right, that's good.
I mean, I think that's all my questions. Do you have any more questions?
Oh gosh. I was going to piggyback on your last question about female interest and just kind of ask the question. You've got this darker tones of the world. I'm wondering, do you think that has an influence on how much traffic you get from female interest?
Possibly. I don't think people know that though until they read it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, probably not.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, probably not. Just because I don't know if I don't think I packaged up like Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean?
Well, I have a lot of female friends who are very into the Mortal Kombat world. That's the reason, or the fiction for it, which is the reason I brought this up, because you see a disparity where you'll have people who are very interested in this type, and then maybe they just don't know what this is about yet.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
you said it's all growing, right?
Yeah. But every day, one book at a time, literally, is what I always say.
Yeah.
So still growing.
You're successful, obviously.
Thank you.
You're growing, and you're obviously gonna keep growing. So, yeah, I think it's more of a bonus for us to be here than the other way around, personally. But
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that the accessibility of your comic, because now you do have the audiobooks on YouTube now, right? So I feel like that creates just wider range of accessibility to people who maybe don't have time to read,
Yeah.
or maybe have learning disabilities, so it's easy for them to follow along. So
Well, it was easier for me because I'm not super heavy on sitting down and reading all the time. I've done it, obviously, things like that, but if I can get this whole story in 30 minutes, I would prefer that. So I had to make that for people like me. I used to be really like, I was really picky on the type of things I would say on social media. Like, I didn't want to do too many spoilers. And then I realized, all I do is watch the spoilers. Not if it's a movie, but like if I want to learn about a character, I'll just be like, let me just figure this out really fast. I'm not. So I thought to like make it for the people who do want to learn this way, and then for the people who like more animated or audio books and things like that.
Yeah.
So the goal is more so just to make sure as many people know our characters as possible. It doesn't matter if they buy the book or not, just as long as they're fans by the time we get to the bigger projects, that enough people know who we are.
okay, that was
Yeah.
my last thing.
All good.
All right, thank you again
Thank
for
you.
coming. Or actually,
It was
we came
easy
to
for
you.
coming. Yeah, it was easy to come here.
Well, thank you for having us
No
and letting
problem.
us do this, our first video. So, Impound Comics here at Doco Mall in downtown Sacramento, and then also he has a location at the Arden Mall off of Arden.
Yep.
So, thank you again, and stay tuned for our next video. We're excited to start presenting to you guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you all for listening. Distribution of Anthropotamus is in collaboration with the American Anthropological Association. Please continue to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Anthropotamus for our latest episodes, show notes, and book discussion schedule.